Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've been good, and as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about my testimony, how I came to Christ. So let's get into it.
Carla, no wait, Carla is my mate. Run when I do with Carla, she does it all in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I'm going to start off basically just kind of like giving you a background story, and that is my childhood. So growing up, I lived with my mum and my dad, and like my parents always could, they basically did all that they could for me. And I always had, so like materialistically I always had, financially I always had stuff. However, what I feel like I lacked growing up as a child was just that affectionate, that love. Not that my parents didn't love me, but I think it was mainly, I don't really remember being told like, okay, Carla, you're beautiful, or you are well done, like you're really smart, you're really intelligent. I don't really remember those kind of things. So I think growing up without that kind of had an effect on me. And then my parents actually ended up splitting up. So my family was quite close. Like we'd go on holidays all the time. We'd always like go out to eat on Fridays, for example, as a family. Yeah, like our family was really cute, and I think things kind of like just started to deteriorate once I found out that my dad had actually got into another relationship with a woman. So he cheated on my mum. And as a child, I was probably like about 6 or 7 years old. And during that time, I witnessed everything. Like, it's like I felt my mum's emotions. But I don't think anyone probably could realise that I was soaking all of this in. And I really felt my mum's pain. Like, I used to sometimes sit outside the front room and hear them arguing and hear my mum crying, and I just feel so upset. And I thank God, because I used to cry when I used to have to say this out. So there's healing that's been done. But yeah, that really, really, really affected me. And I used to think, man, like, okay, so because Dad, like, why is this happening? Why have you done this? Like, why have you left us? Because obviously he left the house, they broke up. So it was kind of like rejection. Like, okay, is it because we're not good enough? Is it because you don't love us anymore? Is it because you found someone better? And I think that's when I started to, my self-esteem, my self-worth began to deteriorate from such a young age. So once he had left, I then, obviously, as I was getting older, I was still in primary school. I remember wanting a boyfriend so bad. Like, I remember there was 2 different occasions in year 5 and then in year 6 where I was looking for a boyfriend, and I kept getting rejected. I really wanted a boyfriend, and on 2 occasions that I tried, I got rejected. Like, on top of like feeling rejected from my dad, like not wanting my mom or wanting us, or wanted to stay with us and choosing another woman, which is what I felt like he did. I felt like I was rejected again. It's just like, okay, you don't like me. Okay, cool. Or you're gonna leave, because in year 6, the guy, we actually started going out. I don't understand what the heck that is, but it's just like, talking on the phone or whatever. And then one day he was just like, yeah, I don't want to go out with you anymore. And that really hurt me, man. I felt really upset. Like, I felt like trash. And I'm 11, I think I was even 10, a 10-year-old, when I should be reading my books, but I'm looking for man. Like, what the heck? It's just so sad. And for me to even think that there's little girls that probably are doing the same thing actually breaks my heart. Because you should be enjoying your life at that age. You should be like not even thinking about these things. As I got into year 7, I started to become more uncomfortable with my appearance. And also I forgot to mention that my dad growing up, though he was there, he actually struggled with alcohol abuse. So he was an alcoholic. He still is, actually. But he was a functioning alcoholic. One time during Christmas, I'll never forget, he actually came home drunk, and it was just me, my sister, and my mum in the house, and he came home drunk. And it's just things like that I used to just remember. But anyway, yeah, so I found myself seeking attention. Like, I wanted attention from guys. And I think it's because I was lacking that from my father. Though he was present, he would provide for me materialistically rather than it being emotionally. I do not feel like I was affirmed by him or validated. So I started to look for my worth through the eyes of other people. So year 7 came. Like, man, I was just looking for love, man. Like, I would jump from relationship to relationship. And then it got to year 9. And I had just gotten into another relationship. Like, come on. Another relationship. And the guy that I had been with, he was like, oh, I don't really think you're pretty. I think A, B, and C is pretty, but you're not that pretty. And that's when, like, the body dysmorphia, even though the body dysmorphia and the self-worth and self-image was being unveiling, like, the years from before, his comment, I think, kind of was, what did they say? The icing on the cake. Because that's when, like, I started to spiral out of control. So that's me going into year 10. And we then broke up, and I met my boyfriend, like my first real boyfriend, that I actually, like, lost my virginity to, and, you know, was in a relationship for 4 years with. I didn't realize that for the next 4 years of my life, I was going to be in an emotionally abusive relationship. And yeah, man, like, my sister said to me, because one time, I didn't understand this. I'm like, how old was I? I just turned 15. So I'm just like, just living life, like, you know, do my GCSEs. I was doing history coursework, and he was like, why do you always spend so much time doing your work? Like, you need to spend more time with me. I feel like you don't like me. Why are you always spending time doing your work? And I'm like, because it's schoolwork. I don't know, you know. What do you mean? He got really angry at me, and I felt bad after. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel so bad. And my sister was like, Carla, that's not okay. Because I went to her and I was like, I just feel so sad. Like, did I do something wrong? Should I not be spending that much time on my work? And she was like, Carla, there's something wrong. I don't like that boy. Obviously, I didn't listen. I had to find that out for myself. And like, we were really close. Like, I knew his family, he knew my family. We had the same group of friends. But what started to happen was I couldn't spend any time with my friends that much anymore. I couldn't talk to no boys. He was very controlling, manipulative. He used to basically tell me that I wasn't attractive. Like, he used to say that, you know, I disgust him. If you can imagine what that does to your self-esteem. Already my self-esteem was poor, but on top of that, it was just getting worse. It's like I was just getting ripped to shreds, and my dependency on him grew further. It's like I couldn't leave him. I had to stay. I was like, oh no, but I need you. I love you. Like, I can't live without you. I need you. And he knew that, you know. He was a very broken person too. But he knew that, so he could play on that. And, like, every 2 weeks, he'd randomly wake up and be like, oh, I don't want to be with you today. You make me sick. And I had to deal with that for 4 years. Well, I chose to deal with that for 4 years because I didn't think I could get anyone else. I thought, wow, I've hit the jackpot. Like, this guy, you know, he's a football player. Like, you know, he dresses well. People like him. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, like, I'm lucky to even be with someone like that. I need him in my life. So I stayed for 4 years, and man, I just got, my self-esteem was just written off. Like, I remember begging him, like, please don't leave me, please. And it's because I was also scared that he'd find someone more attractive and want to be with someone better than me. If we go back to my father, again, when he left my mum, I thought the same thing. Oh, maybe it's because he's found someone better, the woman's better, that's why he's left us, like, we're nothing. It's because we're not worth anything. And I felt the same way about the guy. So I just couldn't leave. And the only way I got out of that is by jumping into another relationship. And I thought, okay, if I'm with a girl, technically I'm not gonna upset him if I move on that way. If he then comes back and wants to be with me again, then it's not gonna be that easy, because it's not a guy. He's not gonna feel threatened by that. So then I wasn't in a relationship. I kind of like was seeing this girl for maybe like 3 weeks, and she was literally like the girl version of him. Controlling, psychotic, like, she was not right, man. Like, she had issues, like, she was highly insecure. It was crazy. The only way that I'm never gonna go back to him is if I sleep with this person. So I ended up getting into a relationship with a drug dealer. And if you can imagine, like, I'm sorry, that's how much I did not respect myself. That I would even think that it's okay to be with someone that does these kind of things casually, like. And I remember actually sleeping with him, and for me, I had to drink because I didn't have much confidence. To sleep with him, I had to drink. I had to drink alcohol, and I got heavily drunk. But that same night, he had left the room and taken a phone call and was like, hey babes, yeah, what you saying? And I just remember there I was drunk. Like, I could still like remember feeling like trash. Like, I just felt so disgusting. I felt dirty. Like, I just felt like trash. Like, he got on the phone to talk to another girl. And I was like, what have I done? But did I leave? No. Even through that whole time, this guy would never ever tell me where I stood with him. I'm like, what are we? You know, like...
we're seeing each other in it, but you're my babes, innit? You're my babes, like, don't worry about that, you're my babes, like, you know.
Like... But I stayed. I was like, nah. All that this guy would really do is just pay for my cab home. That's probably the nicest thing that he did. And he would sit on his bed and be looking through his phone.
Oh, that girl's sexy, man.
Right? Whilst I'm there, like, yeah, that's straight up disrespect. Straight up disrespect that I allowed myself to stay in, yeah? And as time went on, I would serial date. Like, I kept dating unavailable men and talking to guys. I always had to have a guy, like, a backup person, like, not to, like, be sleeping around with or anything, but to be just someone that could just, you know, boost my ego, or like, you know, how are you look nice today kind of thing. And I think I started to notice things started to change when I met another guy, and he was a Christian, and I was like, yeah, man, this guy looks like everything I want. Like, he's a little bit older, he's swaggy, he's not a drug dealer, like, he looks nice. The same thing happened. He was an unavailable person. Like, he would leave me hanging, like, okay, we're gonna meet up, and I wouldn't hear from him, or he'd always call me at some next random time at night, or call me randomly after I've texted you, and 2 weeks later you're not picking up the phone, or you're not replying to my text. But I would still stay. I'd keep giving these guys chances and chances. And randomly, this is highly significant because I ended up becoming pregnant with this guy, though I had taken the morning after pill. And this is where God starts to, though I was always I was a Catholic, I was brought up as a Catholic, so I always believed in God, but I was just living a life of sin, you know, just going to church on a Sunday, thinking that I can do whatever I want, but I didn't really know God like that. But this is where I feel like God just started to, the calling was coming, you know, slightly. So even though it's always been there, but, you know, things started to be awakened a bit. So during this time, like, obviously this guy was a church guy, even though we were sleeping together. Not saying, anyway. So basically, actually, no, be careful, because you have to know people by their fruits. Obviously, I didn't understand that because I weren't in Christ, so I wouldn't be able to tell that someone's really serious about Christ by the way that they behaved. I just thought, yeah, anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. So long story short, I ended up getting pregnant, even though I took the morning after pill, and I was like, raw, what am I gonna do? I was like, I'm getting an abortion. I'm getting an abortion. I don't really care. I'm getting an abortion. And he was like, yeah, you need to, because I don't really want to have a child right now. I don't think it's a suitable time, blah, blah, blah. So I end up going to the abortion clinic, and I'm like, there were so many complications with this. Bear in mind, I'm going to my scans on my own, you know. I was probably like only 6 weeks, but I was going to my scans on my own because, again, he was just unavailable. He wasn't that supportive. And then, so they were telling me that they can't see anything. I think it was because it was too early. So then when I went to the abortion clinic, I had another scan, and then the woman was like, I can see it. I just started crying. I was like, oh my gosh. Because beforehand, when they said they couldn't see anything, they were telling me that it could be a problem. Like, maybe, you know, this is not gonna, the baby might not grow, whatever. So I was like, okay, at that moment of time, I didn't care. I was like, yeah, that means it's just gonna go. Like, I don't care. That means I'm not actually gonna have to have an abortion because I'll just lose it. But when the woman told me at the abortion clinic that there was actually a baby there, I was like, I really am going to have to make a huge decision. And I really wasn't in church like that. I had been going to a church, and I kind of gave my life to Christ, sort of. I said the prayer, but I was still living whatever life, innit? After that, I had to really think. And that's when I was like, God, like, I need help. Like, can you please tell me what to do? Because I had too many voices in my head telling me, get rid of it, you're not ready to be a mum, you can't do this, you can't do that, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. It literally felt like the devil was like, I could just feel this heavy darkness over me. And I prayed one prayer, and I was like, God, can you allow me to wake up in the morning with peace on this decision I should make? I want to hear from you. The next morning I woke up, and he was like, keep it. So I was like, okay, I've got peace about keeping it. So long story short, I end up keeping it, telling my mum, like, we went through madness, and she eventually accepted that I was gonna have a child. He wasn't happy about it, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna raise a child by myself. I don't really care about you lot, like, I'll do it by myself. I started making plans, everything, and then I ended up having a miscarriage. And I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I was so hurt. I was so hurt. Yeah, I was so hurt, because it's like I thought I went through so much to then lose a child, and I'm like, but God, you told me to keep it. But what God said to me, and I'll never forget it. I didn't understand what it meant at that moment in time, but he was like, don't worry, I've got better for you. It's not, this is my will. Like, this is not the time to have a child. But because I trusted him, and I trusted him, and I was obedient to what he said, he gave me a promise, and that was, don't worry, like, you're gonna be okay. It's not your time, but I've got better for you. I've got better for you. And bear in mind, like, I didn't know what he was talking about. I was just like, okay, God, I'm gonna hold on to that. I started living sinfully again, like, partying, drinking. I used to drink like a skunk. Like, I used to just get drunk. because I needed confidence. I drank to feel good about myself. I drank so I could have confidence and be the life of the party, because I felt so insecure. It got to 2014, and obviously I'd still been living wild, but then I just started certain little things, yeah, like I started noticing. I started becoming a bit more sensitive to God. Like randomly I'd end up on Bible scriptures on my phone. Like I start seeing it, and usually I probably wouldn't care about this stuff. I was like, okay, it started to make me feel some type of way, and I was like, nah man, I don't care about this. Like I'm trying to live my own life. I like how my life is. And during that time I had got into I was trying to get over another relationship, which again, like, bounced into next man, this man, that man, this one, for the sake of love. I then got into my last ever relationship, yeah, which was 2014. Before that, I had been trying to like get into to see if there was any, like, if I could find another girl to get into a relationship with, like online dating. Like, this is how desperate I was. And it just kept falling through, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But then I got into a relationship with a guy, and in that relationship, it was again just full of insecurity. And I was with him. I realized I'm with this guy because I'm being selfish. I don't want to be by myself. But we're not 100% compatible, but because I don't want to be by myself, I'm gonna stay. And we ended up staying together for about 8 months. In that time, the relationship was, I say it was unhealthy. He didn't trust me. It was just messy, man. It was just messy. Like, a lot of sneaking around that he did, like going through my phone and everything like that. Again, like, I felt like God was doing little things. God was doing little things to get my attention. So it got to January 2015, and I had gone out raving for New Year's, and I got really, really drunk. But when I got home, and I embarrassed myself a lot. I embarrassed myself. I fell down, like my dress was all falling off me, like I was vomiting on the street. And it got to like I got home and I was like, God, I'm so sorry. I don't want to do this again. I'm sorry. I will never embarrass myself like this again. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, my heart just started becoming very convicted about my behavior. And I was like, And my desire to go out and rave just started to die. And I was going through a little bit of financial hardship during that time. And as I walked down the stairs, I saw this. Someone put this through my letterbox, and I'm like, it says, greetings, just spreading the love and to say that Jesus loves you. His love is eternal. The Bible says in the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28 to 29, come to me, all of you who are tired and have heavy loads. I will give you rest. Accept my work and learn from me. I am gentle and humble in spirit, and you will find rest for your soul. Amen. Jesus loves you. He has a plan for you. Be blessed. I don't know who put that in my post box, yeah? But I remember my friend saying to me, Carla, that's God. Like, that's God. I'm like, I didn't understand it. It was 2015. I didn't understand it. I just was like, my eyes were just being open to so many things. Like, I wasn't really happy in a relationship anymore, but I didn't want to leave because I didn't want to be on my own. I just started like praying a little bit more. And when it came to like being intimate with my boyfriend, I started feeling really like disgusting. And there was one time when I was just like, I was like, God, please, like, I hope this guy don't touch me. I hope he don't touch me because I don't want to sleep with him. I don't want to sleep with him. I just don't want to do it. It's making me feel dirty. And when he left, I was jumping for joy, man. I was jumping for joy. I was like, yes, like, I'm so happy. Like, I didn't want to do anything. And I was like, why is this happening to me? And then he was having a debate one day, and he was like, oh, I don't believe in marriage. I don't really like, I don't believe in it. And I was like, I used to think that as well. I used to think that I wasn't worthy of being married to you. I used to think marriage was trash. But for some reason, I was like, well, actually, I would like to be married one day. And I was like, where is this coming from, man? Where is this coming from? And certain things I just didn't really want to do anymore. Like, I remember I was saying to my friend, we was talking about things like masturbation and things like that. And I was like, I just don't want to do these things anymore. Like, it's gross. I don't want to do it. And she was like, Carla, I think God's trying to tell you something. And I'm like, huh? Me? She was like, yeah, I think God's trying to tell you something, because she had gotten saved the year before. And I was like, nah, he can't be like, this is a couple months later now. I remember it clearly. It was the 16th of May, 2015. And I went to do a run. And the run was called Walking Out of Darkness. Walking out of the darkness. And man, like, that was just so symbolic. So symbolic. It was not a coincidence. It was a walk for suicide prevention. But it was called Walking Out of the Darkness. Yeah. My friend had messaged me. She messaged me and was like, oh, come to church with me tomorrow, because I was still going to my Catholic church, like, still in sin. Going to my Catholic church, and I was like, oh yeah, I might as well go to your church, because that way I'm still going to church. And I was meant to see her anyway. So then it comes to the Sunday now, and I'm feeling weird. I'm still in a relationship with the guy now. I'm feeling weird. Like, I'm like, something is up. Like, something is not sitting right with me. Something's changing. Something's happening. And on my way to the church, I call my friend, and I'm like, I start crying. I'm like, man, I think I'm meant to break up with I was gonna say the name. I think I'm meant to break up with so-and-so. And she was like, Carla, I think God is he is calling you. I'm crying because I'm scared as well. I'm like, huh? But all I've ever known is being in a relationship and getting my self-worth from guys and approval from people and listening to other people's opinions of me. What is this about? So I'm having all of these mixed emotions. I get to the church now. In that service, man, I just started crying. I was just like, there's something, it was just different from any other experience I had ever had. And I was just like, I give my life to Christ. I give my life to Christ. I really believe God knows that from this day, I'm ready. I'm really going to be committed to living for him. And I gave my life to Christ on the 17th of May, 2015. And I remember me and my friend had a conversation after the service. And I was excited, but I was also scared, because I'm like, okay, so there's this guy called Jesus, and he really loves me, and he's got a plan for me, but all I've ever known is this life. All I've ever known is doing things for myself. All I've ever known is getting my worth from men. All I've ever known is being in a relationship, or having someone on the other end of the line telling me that they think that I'm this and think that I'm that, and boosting up my confidence. All I've ever known is that. Man. That day, I said I had to, I really believe God was telling me, you need to break up with this guy now. So I got home, and I said to him, like, I'm sorry, but we can't sleep together anymore. And he was like, what?
What, where you been? Who you been talking to? What, that church? Why are you letting that church brainwash you?
I'm like, we just can't anymore. And he was like, well, if you think I'm going to be with you and then do my thing with another girl, that's how I used to talk, another girl, basically, like, still being in a relationship with me, but sleeping with someone else, because I won't give it to him, then you got another thing coming. And from then I was just thinking, hold on. I don't know what made you think you had that option. But no, it's not gonna happen. So obviously he felt hurt, because he's like, this girl was fine yesterday. She's calling me, telling me that she's leaving me for Jesus Christ. Like, he thought I lost the plot. Like, he thought I was nuts. So I was so scared. And I got off the phone, and I knew I had done the right thing. Like, I didn't actually miss him or anything like that. What I missed was having someone to feel avoiding me. So that night, I remember having a lot of anxiety. I had so much anxiety. And when I was lying in bed, like, I'd switched off all the lights. I was lying in bed, but for some reason I was so scared to go to sleep. And that night, I was lying in my bed, and I literally saw a hand, and it was like grey, like some grey hand with electric things going through its hands. And it literally, I felt volts like going through my body. I felt volts going through my body, and I couldn't move. Like, I was awake and I could see the hand, and I couldn't move. I was trying to shout, and basically, people think it's sleep paralysis, but it's actually a demonic attack. Like, but I didn't know. All I know is I tried to get out of it, and when it left, I got up and I went I went to sleep in my mum's bed. Like, listen, I was shook. I was so scared. Like, I was like, nah, what is this? Why is this happening to me? I had anxiety for 3 months, yeah? Though obviously, like, I was growing in Christ and I was going to church and I began reading the Bible. That is where my foundation was changing, because I had to learn to put my dependency on God. And I'm like, man, all I've ever known is having a man, even though they would treat me like trash. Like, all I've ever known is having that security from a human. And now this man called Jesus is going to give me that. I don't know how that's supposed to happen. Eventually, I overcame my anxiety and literally insomnia. I used to have to sleep with the TV and the light on. I used to have to sleep with the TV and the light on. But God set me free from it, and he also set me free from having to be in a relationship. And I decided, obviously that day, that meant, no more relationships, becoming celibate, waiting and believing that God could actually give me himself first and foremost, but that one day I could actually meet a fantastic man that will love me as Christ loves me. And obviously that was 3 years ago, and it's now 2018, and here I am standing here. Has the journey been easy? No, it hasn't. Has it been worth it? Yes, it has. Would I ever want to go back to the way I used to live? No way, because this life that the world promises you is just fickle. It's just like, it feels good in the moment, but trust me, it's not as amazing as the life that God has for you. It's just funny how God works. Like, it's just so amazing to see and to look back, because now, like, my dependency is on him. And has it been a battle? Yes, it has, man. It has been a battle. Sometimes I've been scared, like, will I ever actually be married, or overcoming the void that was in my heart. But as I've grown, God's just revealed himself to me over and over again, and I'm grown into the woman that he actually called me to be. And so this is just to say, like, you don't have to get your worth from a man, a job, money, people telling you that you're beautiful, or just sleeping with people. Christ can give you that. He can give you that, and despite what your past looks like, he can use you in so many ways if you would just let him and trust that he can. Yeah, it's just been amazing. So my past is my past. I'm not ashamed of it, which is why I'm here to share it. And God's changed. He's changed my future. He's still using me despite what my past looks like, because Jesus Christ died for my sins. He died for your sins. So if you're even scared about, like, being lonely and being on your own. Like, God will give you the comfort that you need. It's been hard, but trust me, he's been faithful. And yeah. So that's my testimony. That's how I came to Christ. It's been a good journey. I'm excited for the future. So much has happened in the last 3 years, and I'm so excited for what else is to come. So I hope you enjoyed my testimony, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the